Foxfire Farm up in Van Alstyne, where she raised Frisian horses and she taught kids to ride. After she had her accident in December of 2004, Kate continued to keep the farm going, to continue to teach kids to ride horses, and she tried to keep that going for another 3 years after she had her accident. And I am impressed with the grit that it took for her to continue on with that business for as long as she did. That shows me what a truly amazing woman she is. Now, I had some long conversations with Kate's brother Ray and Kate's sister Margie, and they didn't know her as Kate, they knew her as Kathy. So when she was growing up, that was Kathy Garrison that they knew and loved. Margie even lived here in Plano with Kate for a time before Kate had her accident, but she retired up to Ohio, and her brother now lives in Florida, so they are not able to be with us here today. But I want you to know that her brother and sister still talked with her with love and reverence, and as everybody I know here has spoken with Kate of love and reverence, because Kate was a dynamo. Kate was a fierce advocate for disability rights. Kate was my friend and somebody that we all love.
I had the privilege of getting to know Kate the last several years through my work for the Collin County Democratic Party, during my campaign for state representative, and most recently serving with her on the Plano Community Relations Commission. Kate was smart and had high standards. She used that intelligence as a tireless advocate for persons with disabilities as well as the Democratic Party. She helped me see things through the eyes of someone with disabilities. Because of her, I learned of issues and concerns that I would not have known of otherwise. And as a result of her work, persons with disabilities, as well as all of us, are better off. Kate leaves behind a tremendous legacy of advocacy, not just in Plano or Collin County, but across the state. I'm grateful I got to know and serve alongside Kate. I will miss her, her friendship, and her advice.
Hi, I'm Julie Espinoza, and I was friends with Kate Garrison for 6 years. She had a big impact on Reach of Plano. She came in and started holding her Collin County Democrats with Disabilities group meetings here, and I quickly learned that not only was Kate a classically trained advocate going all the way back into the women's movement marching, and I loved her stories, but she knew how to roll up her sleeves and get done what she decided needed to be done. If for any reason Kate couldn't get it done single-handedly, she knew how to organize large groups of people to get it done. I think there are a lot of friendships in Collin County because of Kate. A lot of good happened because of Kate. A lot of leadership developed because of Kate. Kate was very loving. She was beautiful. She was such a strong presence. And we were lucky that we had her here. And we are blessed with all the projects that she was successful with.
Okay, we're on.
Welcome to Anthony and Kate's Big Adventure. We're going to traverse the city streets of Plano in power wheelchairs. Stay tuned for more. Over to you, Anthony.
See you in a bit. Thank you for this adventure, Kate.
Hi, I'm Anthony Ricciardelli on the Plano City Council, and I was privileged to know Kate Garrison. Kate was a great person and a tremendous advocate for the disability community. She gave me the opportunity to come to her house and ride alongside her in a power chair. We rode along sidewalks and crossed major roads, and I have to admit that I was well outside of my comfort zone as the cars whizzed by. The feeling of vulnerability I felt that day is a perspective I will never forget, and I'm thankful to Kate for giving that to me. With Kate's personality and her tenacious passion advocating for everything pertaining to the disability community, it's hard to believe that she's no longer with us. but I pray that Kate is experiencing eternal joy and peace in heaven with God.
My name is Kimberley O'Neill, and I am the former chair for the City of Plano Community Relations Commission. I had the honor and the privilege of working with Kate for 2 years, and there's one thing that I know for sure. She is going to be missed, and she cannot be replaced. My hope is that each of us understand the blueprint that she's left for us, and that we utilize that blueprint to carry along her legacy, because she left us something tremendous, and we owe it to her to continue the work. To her family, to her friends, to her colleagues, and those that loved her, I offer my sincere and utmost condolences. And I pray that each of you find some level of peace in knowing that Kate did what she set out to do, and that was change the course of this community, whether it be locally or statewide or around this country. She did the work, and it's time for us to keep doing it too. Thank you for sharing her with us. We truly appreciate you.
Hi, this is Steve Spainhouer. I'm a former precinct chair in the Collin County Democratic Party, and I served with Kate Garrison as a precinct chair and also worked with her as the communications director for the Disability Caucus in the Texas Democratic Party. In fact, I was happy to place her name into nomination so she could be the vice chair of that Disability Caucus several years ago. An effective leader, someone that we all admired, someone we all looked up to. Kate will be sorely missed. Thank you, Kate, for all that you've given to the Texas Democratic Party and to people with disabilities throughout the state. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hello, my name is Tamara Thomas. This is David Evans and Dollie Thomas, and we're here representing the Stimpson, Drake, Thomas families, the Douglas Community, and Douglas Visions Committee.
We had the opportunity to work with Kate on several initiatives throughout her advocacy work throughout the city of Plano and Collin County. It was always a pleasure to work with Kate. She was a fierce fighter and leader and a great mentor for anyone to have.
To the family, we wish you well. It will be so hard for us to fill her shoes as advocate for those that are disabled and less fortunate. But we will try. We know that our prayers are with you, and we will miss Kate.
Thank you, Kate Garrison. With admiration, respect, and gratitude, from Rideshare to Vote. Kate's leadership and advice helped elevate the importance of transporting disabled voters to the polls to a critical mission of Rideshare to Vote. Kate was instrumental in developing our volunteer training program. Kate inspired Rideshare to Vote staff to identify necessary resources to provide accessible rides for voters in the Georgia 2021 runoff elections and beyond.
I met Kate through Reach of Texas because I was Grant's guardian, Grant Tips, and she helped me with Grant. That's how I met Kate. He passed away this past February 25th, he passed. He had spina bifida, hydrocephalus, neurological, bowel, bladder, kidney failure, liver failure, heart failure. He walked on crutches. In the end, he was using a wheelchair because he couldn't walk anymore. But Kate helped me be a better advocate for Grant. And now, Kate, you are with Grant, so y'all take care of each other. Oh, Grant loved Kate.
Hi, this is State Representative Jeff Leach, just bringing my personal greetings to all of those who are gathered today to celebrate the life of Kate Garrison. Kate was a wonderful, wonderful woman, and her legacy lives on. I had the blessing of getting to know Kate over the years, getting to work with Kate, of getting to be on the receiving end of Kate's many phone calls and emails, her ideas, her feedback, her input, and just her commitment to making this world, to making our community a better place, a brighter place, was lived through in her life. And it was so great to get to see a small glimpse of that. So Kate, we love you. We will miss you, but like I said, your legacy lives on. God bless.
Hello, this is Harry LaRosiliere, former mayor of Plano. Wishing Kate Garrison a warm and a loving farewell. I'm going to miss you. I know that you are at the gates of heaven right now, making sure that it's ADA compliant. All the best to your family, and may you rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to be here today. As we all remember the life and the legacy of the late Kate Garrison. My name is Jessica Gonzalez, and as a state representative, I got to know Kate through her advocacy at the state level on elections issues, many of which we worked on together. Excuse me. Kate and I's paths crossed on Facebook, actually. She reached out to me. She had written a bill regarding curbside voting. And so she was looking for somebody to file the bill, to be the author of the bill and carry it. And I agreed to do so. And so, her and my office, got in communication and we worked together on it. And so this bill would have clarified, made it easier for folks who are disabled or health compromised, because we wanted everybody to be able to vote. So it's hard to forget when Kate came to the Capitol to testify on this bill in front of the Elections Committee. And it was actually the first bill that the Elections Committee heard for the regular session. And so it was a bill that was seen by, at least by the chair, as a priority. And so we were very hopeful, to get the bill passed into law. But her testimony and her personality, was so bright that the bill ended up getting passed that very same day with bipartisan support unanimously out of the committee. And so, that was, unfortunately, the bill did not receive a vote on the House floor during the regular session. But I do plan on refiling this bill next session as the Kate Garrison Memorial Act to continue her legacy and continue working towards her mission of electoral equality for all Texans, no matter their disabilities or health status. Kate's dedication did not go unnoticed. Throughout the regular session and special sessions, she stayed in constant contact with my office, wondering what she could do to help this bill become law, and keeping up with other elections bills that were moving through the legislature to explain how they would affect the disability community. In honor of Kate, I authored and the House adopted a memorial resolution during the second special session, highlighting her life and accomplishments. We're still waiting for the official document to be produced so we can share it with everyone. She will be missed dearly, but her fierce advocacy and work will live on. So rest in power, Kate, and thank you, everyone. We're going to continue this fight in case.
I met Kate Garrison about 6 years ago. I just been appointed Collin County Elections Administrator, and I was just settling in my office, and Kate showed up out of nowhere. We didn't have an appointment. She just rolled in, and I think that meeting that first day did some amazing things, and I want to go over some of those with you now if I can. Kate, with her assistance and her input, created some changes in Collin County elections that make us a model for this state of Texas in terms of what we do for curbside voting. And it started with just a conversation. We talked for about an hour. She said, well, let me ask you about the signs. Well, I already noticed the signs looked a little funny when I got there. The signs for curbside voting, they were cardboard, they were not very big, and it required our election workers to tape them to a handicap sign that already existed. Or if there wasn't a sign there, that you found a box or something to designate the space for curbside voting. The sign also said, if you're unable to get in contact with a poll worker to say you want to curbside vote, honk your horn. Well, if you know some of our polling places, that's not very effective, is it? Especially at the colleges when you may be parked a little ways away and they're not going to be listening for your horn. So Kate, in her conversation with me, said, there's got to be a better way, Bruce. And together in conversation, we said, okay, we'll designate a phone number on there. It'll ring in my office. And then we'll call the polling place and say, you have a curbside voter. As simple as that. Well, it worked pretty well, but even as we went on, we realized that, as Tom told me, those numbers in a big election would be busy, and we couldn't reach locations because we weren't getting some calls. So we evolved it even from there to assigning a phone for each polling place that had the number of the location that would receive the call. Instead of us calling the location, it went straight to the location. That helped tremendously in the process. Also, the signs, no longer taping them, we were able to get funding to get A-frames. So they were mobile and big, nice signs that said, this is a curbside voting space. Kate also told me about that. She said, well, I have a problem with using handicap parking spaces for curbside voting. And I'm like, well, Kate, that's what we've always done. And she explained to me, well, you're not thinking it through, Bruce, and here's why. You know, she had a way of doing that, right? And so she said to me that if you're using a handicap parking space for curbside voting, people going to that building for other purposes, they don't have a space to park. And many of our locations are maybe at a library, a rec center, a city hall, fire station, you name it, schools. So we started to train our workers. It wasn't a state law requirement, which, you know, Representative, she was trying to get into a requirement, that you use a space that's not a handicap space. So Kate and I negotiated, and I said, look, Kate, sometimes handicap parking spaces are the best place because it's right in front of the door. So there might be exceptions. So she accepted that there might be exceptions, but in my training classes, I tell judges, and that's because of talking to Kate, if you can pick a non-handicapped space, please do, and you just opened up a space for someone wanting to go to that location that is disabled and needs it to be able to get access into the building. The space designations were very important to me, and it was something I never even thought about until she came to me. She also wanted to follow up. Kate had a team of people she pulled together to go and do polling place inspections. So you know I was a little nervous about that, because the last call I wanted to get was from Kate saying, there's no polling place designation for curbside voting at this location or that location. It was like a report card. And as soon as she would call, or one of her team workers would call, we would call the judge and say, you don't have a sign posted. Or you have a sign posted way far out, can you put it closer? It's something that simple that made it so much better for so many people. She also wanted us to do an analysis after each election, and I was happy to do this, to see how many curbside voters we would have at each location, because it wasn't a one-size-fit-all situation. Some locations, and ones you might not expect, would have more curbside voters than other locations. And that was an indicator for us to give more equipment for curbside voting, more signs for curbside voting. She called me the day after election saying, where's my report? So I could look at it and analyze it. We worked together. Kate also did something very important in this county. We were buying a new voting system, and it implemented in 2019, November of 19. She wanted to see the new voting system. She went to our demonstrations. She pulled her team together again, and I see some team members here, and y'all came down to our office, and we brought the vendor in. And we said, okay, y'all, here's the system. Here's the units we'll be taking out to the car. We're going to give you an option. And one of the units was the express vote, just like used inside the polling place. And one of the problems, it's big, it's bulky, and it weighs about 20, 25 pounds. So we were trying to figure out a way to get it out there and get it inside a car. Her team, including her, got in a car, and we curbside voted to see what it was like. And you know what she said? She said to me, I've been in this wheelchair for a while, and I don't have muscle definition in my legs. Setting this unit on my lap will hurt me, and will hurt the bone structure. I didn't even think about that. So we chose Plan B. Plan A was the one that generated that marked ballot that you could look at. The other problem was, the team said, we don't really want somebody walking with our marked ballot inside a polling place. That's not really comforting to us. So we designed a model that uses an express touch, a more mobile unit. And that is all because of that first meeting and my subsequent conversations with Kate. She was a dedicated ballot board member, and she taught me how to make that process more accessible. We didn't think about it, but Kate educated all of us. And I remember the day we were sitting in the counting station, and Neil Katz, the Republican ballot board judge, and Kate was the alternate ballot board judge, I think, at the time. We were sitting and just having a conversation. We were waiting in between times. And she said to Neil Katz, the Republican ballot board judge, "Neil, can you get me in contact with some state reps? Because I want this bill to pass." She was trying to get her legislation. This was before the session even started. She was already on it. And Neil said, well, sure, I'd be happy to talk to you, Kate. Give me a call. When Kate left that room, I looked at Neil. I said, "You know she's going to call you, Neil." I hope you didn't just say that and not mean it, because she may be calling you tonight to talk about this situation. She was a force to be reckoned with. She was tenacious, but in a good and just way. And it proves here. We never even talked about politics. I don't vote in primaries. I haven't voted in a primary for 41 years because I represent all parties. Independents, everybody running for election is who I represent. And she never crossed the line to try to tell me how she felt about it even. That's how she kept her business personal and on point. And I thought about the saying, John Lewis, good trouble. Then you hear the metaphor, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Well, if her wheels started to squeak, I promise you she was going to get oil, one way or another. And she did, and in a good way. So I'm going to miss my talks with her. I'm going to miss her greatly. And I will tell you this, I know I'm a better person, and I know if she had just a few more years, she would have been going to the national level trying to get everyone to do this. And believe it or not, she knows this. She knew which states they were. Some states don't have curbside voting. Disabled voters that would like a voting experience at a polling place in a number of states, mail ballot is their only option. And she would have been working on that to change it. So in closing, I'll just say in spirit, I know that Kate is here. Now, what I also know is she was probably 5 or 10 minutes late getting here. Because she was not really on time very much, but she was always there. And I will miss her, and I consider her a friend, and I appreciate what she's done for me. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure. My name is John Muns, and I'm mayor of the city of Plano, and I'm glad to be joined by my council members, Councilmember Smith, Ricciardelli, and Councilmember Homer. It's a pleasure to be a part of this celebration of the life for Kate Garrison for you today. Plano is such a better place because of Kate's influence, passion, and friendship. We've lost an incredible member of our community, and with the passing of Kate, she was an embodiment of selflessness and one that should all seek to emulate, all of us. Whether we're serving as a commissioner on our County Relations Commission or testifying before Texas state and federal representatives on the importance of accessibility for people with disabilities, Kate worked tirelessly, as you've already heard. In fact, she played a vital role of drawing attention to the importance of accessibility through universal design in Plano, which we've talked about now for several years. And Kate worked closely with city staff and departments on issues people with disability faced in our city. She helped Plano staff in the process for the formation of our universal design webpage, and her work helped in the creation of a closed captioning system on our live broadcasts of city council meetings, town halls, planning and zoning, et cetera, et cetera. She attended a countless number of meetings providing valuable input to improving the way we think and design for Plano's disability community. These are just a few examples of Kate's work ethic, unselfishness she had in ensuring Plano was an all-American city and an all-inclusive city. And I'm grateful that our city council recognized her important work too. On October 25th, 2016, the Plano City Council bestowed special recognition for Kate's work in advocating for the local disabled community and universal design in Plano's comprehensive plan. Let's all try to be more like Kate. Let's be a little more kinder. Let's be a little more generous, a little more friendly to others, and a little more dedicated to the service of those who need it most. Kate's commitment to the city of Plano will never be forgotten. And may her spirit of generosity and perseverance to the cause of serving persons with disabilities continue in our hearts and minds forever. Thank you.